What's up, everybody? Thanks as always for supporting the show. It would mean a lot to me if you would take a second to scroll down and hit that subscribe button to the Hoops Tonight YouTube channel, and then follow me on social media on TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter so you guys don't miss any of our content over the course of this season. All right, let's talk some basketball. All right, moving on to Lakers Kings. This was a game that happened on Wednesday night. I was texting with Sam Vecini after Lakers Thunder. And I told you guys I was having like a little bit of fun at his expense because I think there's like at least a coin flip chance that the Lakers don't even get out of the play-in tournament, let alone make noise in the playoffs. They're not a team I believe in anymore ever since they didn't make a trade at the deadline. That said, like that matchup specifically against the Thunder is one I've always liked for the Lakers. And so I texted Sam and I was having some fun at his expense and, having taken a little victory lap. But I texted him right after that. And I was like, I'm nearly 100% sure they're going to get smashed by the Kings and that their defense is going to get absolutely shredded. And the reason for that is something that I've talked about a lot on the show. I talked about it after the Warriors-Bucks game, matchups. Matchups to me are the main determining factor for wins and losses for basically every team outside of that Boston and Denver tier. Once you get below those two, every single team you run into has a certain strength and a certain weakness and multiple strengths and multiple weaknesses. And really, it just depends on how those strengths and weaknesses kind of link with their opponent, right? And like, that's the thing. Like, there's a reason why the Lakers have had success against the Thunder. There's a reason why the Lakers have had success against the Clippers. There's a reason why the Lakers have had success against the Suns this season. It's because in those particular matchups, those are teams that have guys that have shifty approach to offense and take a lot of pull-up jump shots. And the Lakers do have a lot of length. They don't have a lot of perimeter speed, but Austin is a guy that he's not short by any stretch of the imagination. D'Angelo Russell's not short by any stretch of the imagination. They're just slower. Taurean Prince is not short. He's just slower, right? And so against those types of matchups, they can slide their feet and be disciplined and offer a late contest and get teams to miss. And then on the other end of the floor, because those teams aren't overly fast, they can have some success scoring the basketball. Here's the problem with Sacramento. Sacramento is not a shifty shot-making team. They have speed guards. It is like, we're coming at you like this all game long. And like, I was impressed that the Lakers even jumped out to the lead that they jumped out to. But then like, as soon as that, right around the end of the first quarter, and heading into that second quarter run, they brought in Taurean Prince and put him on Malik Monk. And then they started running action where basically like a version of Spain pick and roll where they'd have like De'Aaron Fox come off a ball screen and then they'd have Malik Monk back screen for the big man as Alex Len as he's rolling to the basket. And they were just putting the Lakers in a blender. Jackson Hayes was on the floor in this group. And they kind of got into a rhythm a little bit. And then from there, Malik Monk and De'Aaron Fox are both playing with confidence. And when they're playing with confidence, they see tissue paper when they see Austin Reeves. They see tissue paper when they see D'Angelo Russell. They see tissue paper when they see Taurean Prince on the perimeter. And then what happens, because like the Kings are an interesting team in the sense that like we think of them as like a high-powered offense who's going to outscore people. And that was kind of what they were in the regular season last year. But really, when you look to their success in the postseason last year, when they won games against Golden State, and this year, they win when they win with defense. Like when you look at their opponent point totals, it's when they keep teams below that threshold. I think it's like 115 points or whatever. When they hold teams down, their win percentage is gigantically better than what it is when they give up large scoring games. They have not outscored teams very well, but they have been able to, when they really lock in, get stops. I talked about this last night with Jaylen Brown about like discovering your superpower. That extends to the team level as well. Understand what your superpower is as a team. And for Sacramento, it's speed. On the offensive end, we discovered last year, it's not Kevin Huerter and Keegan Murray coming off of ball screens. It's not Sabonis bullying his way to the basket. It's no one can keep Malik Monk and De'Aaron Fox in front off the dribble. That is their superpower. And then on the defensive end of the floor, they have a ton of speed. And like when you add in Keon and you add in Davion Mitchell, like they have speed at the guard spot on the defensive end, 4 or 5 guys deep. And so, like, and what's crazy is like you could see it because they had a really bad defensive quarter to start in the first quarter, and then when Fox and Monk got going, like you could tell it energized the team, and they started defending. They held the Lakers to 20 points in that second quarter, and it was like a runaway freight train. One of the craziest runs I've ever seen to go from being down 18 or whatever to basically blowing out the Lakers. Like it was like a reverse blowout. It was completely insane. But again, this is why I talk about matchups so much. The reason why I wanted the Lakers to go out and get guard athleticism, which was the number one thing I talked about after the Denver Nuggets series last year, they need someone at the guard spot that is athletic enough, but not too small to deal with the likes of like a Jamal Murray, a big, strong athlete. It's why I wanted Bruce Brown this summer. It's why I said at the deadline I'd rather have Bruce Brown than DeJounte Murray. That specific archetype is a specific type of player that the Lakers just do not have. And so because of that, it was like, that's the thing. The Lakers went to the Western Conference Finals last year as currently constructed, more or less, obviously without Dennis Schroeder and with some other role players in the group. They beat the Warriors relatively easily. They beat the Grizzlies relatively easily, right? Like they won in the same exact fashion throughout, never lost a game at home in those two series. The reason why is because those teams were not able to capitalize on the weaknesses that the Lakers have. Right. And so as we go into the Denver matchup, they run into a team that you desperately need size and athleticism at the guard position to defend in those Jokic Murray actions. It was a huge problem. And it was one thing against the Grizzlies when the Grizzlies don't shoot the ball well enough off the ball, and they were able to just completely pack the paint. It was one thing against the Warriors when everybody not named Steph went cold and they were able to just pack the paint and throw the kitchen sink at Steph. But as soon as they ran into a team that brought real shot creation at the guard spot with Jamal Murray, obviously the two-man game with Jokic, and the off-ball spacing to punish them for helping, it exposed their inability to guard actions one-on-one and two-on-two. That is why I've preached about that nonstop. I've never been of the belief that the Lakers can't beat certain teams as currently constructed. It's like I talked about with the Thunder. That's a matchup that works really well for the Lakers. They're a shifty shot-making perimeter group, and they're too small on the interior, and they're too inexperienced. The Lakers would eat those guys up in a playoff series, in my opinion. But these really fast teams that also have the spacing off the ball can cause problems for them. And we haven't even got to the center position. Sabonis kicked Anthony Davis's ass in that game. Anthony Davis has consistently struggled against the big bruising centers, guys like Sabonis, guys like Zubac, guys like Nurkic, guys like Jokic, because he's got a high center of gravity. They can shove him off of his spot. Sabonis was finishing through Anthony Davis at will. He was bullying him on the offensive glass. It was a huge problem in that game. So the Kings just in general are a really bad matchup for the Lakers because Sabonis is a bad matchup for AD, and their guards, like the Lakers guards, are just absolutely hopeless to guard them. And like, that's the thing. Like, I saw a lot of Lakers fans focusing on Darvin Ham and lineups. And don't get me wrong, I've been one of the guys complaining about that all year. Do not agree with everything that Darvin Ham did in this game. I would have had a lot more Max Christie. Taurean Prince on Malik Monk is something I never in a million years would have done. But like it doesn't really matter. They don't have the personnel. You could have thrown your best punch in that game and you still would have gotten your butt kicked. I mean, I shouldn't say your best punch, but your best tactical punch. Because from a personnel standpoint, the Kings just have significant advantages over the Lakers. And that's the group that the Lakers fall into now. Everything's going to be about matchups for them. Whatever tiny sliver of a hope they have is going to be about catching the right types of teams along the way. If they end up in a play-in game on the road in Sacramento, I would be stunned if they won. But like if they ended up on the road in a single elimination game to get in against the Pelicans, shifty shot making perimeter guys and bad backline defense, I would pick the Lakers 10 times out of 10 to win that game, right? Matchups are going to be huge. I shouldn't say 10 out of 10 because obviously if a game's in New Orleans, they could just get hot and beat you. But 7 or 8 times out of 10, I like the Lakers in that matchup. Matchups are going to be everything for this particular Lakers team. And I thought that Kings game was a perfect example of that. Going into the Bucks game tonight, it's going to be interesting because obviously that Dame matchup is a little bit tough on the perimeter, but they don't have the depth of shot creation on the perimeter that a team like Sacramento had with Malik Monk and De'Aaron Fox. And so I think they might be able to piece together a better group for that matchup. And obviously they have the interior presence to kind of hang with Giannis and Brook Lopez. So that's going to be a really interesting one against the Bucks later tonight. But again, matchups are going to be everything for this Lakers team.